I'm Paul Pryce. I'm the Director of Policy for BC Agriculture Council. And so that's kind of an association of associations for the agriculture sector, covering 29 unique commodities and about 20,000 farm families. Well, I think agri-tech really touches on agriculture in many ways. Some people could argue that the first example of agri-tech was a shovel, or maybe the first time someone dug an irrigation channel, but it can also have more sophisticated applications. And so agri-tech, in a way, can support our farmers to produce more of the products that we love at a price that's affordable to consumers and enhance as well our food security, the food security of our communities. I think innovations aren't really possible without partnerships of bringing like-minded people together, and so the conference today was a perfect example of that cross-pollination across entrepreneurs, policymakers, farmers themselves, and consumers and students too. So I think it's necessary to bring those folks together to have those ideas or those conversations gestate, and really if we want to have something like the Abbotsford Tech District realized, something like Silicon Valley, well, that was only possible through the cross-pollination of Tom. I think with the challenges that we're facing now with climate change, that kind of innovation is necessary, that we're able to do more with less. We're really constrained when it comes to water resources. BC as well, we have very little land that's suitable for agricultural production, so we have to be increasingly efficient, and that's only really possible through incremental improvements and innovation. I think it's important that we consider agri-tech as a service rather than maybe a good, that, you know, it's not necessarily buying super expensive equipment, but maybe the provision of a service. Especially when you consider a lot of farmers, statistically we know that the average age of a farmer in Canada is about 58 years old, and we don't want to stereotype, but there's a lot of farmers who do use flip phones still, and then there's other farmers who are far more tech savvy than I am. So we know statistically the average age of a farmer in Canada is 58 years old, and we don't want to necessarily stereotype, but there are a lot of farmers who still use flip phones, and then there are a lot of farmers who are far more tech savvy than I am. And so it's thinking about agri-tech as a service rather than a good that can really help with the adoption of some of those solutions. I don't know how to program Uber, I don't know how the background of Uber works, but I know how to use it. And so the average farmer as well, if that kind of agri-tech is provided as a service, can then leverage the knowledge of the team behind that particular tech company to really understand how to implement that solution on their farm. I think I was really impressed with the diversity of the event and the sheer turnout. That was very exciting to see, the energy in the room and the sheer number of people that had attended. You know, I think close to maybe 180 people. And so in other areas where I've worked in the past in Canada, when there's talk about creating agri-tech, there's not many people, and it's a lot of the familiar faces. So this was very exciting to me and shows that there's so much potential behind this conversation here in Abbotsford. I think the future of food is increasingly diverse. I think being able to find ways to introduce foods from other cultures as well is adding to the diversity, but also the diversity of the food needs, that we're getting better at diagnosing things like food intolerances and food allergies, and so being able to respond to those needs as we get better at diagnosing the underlying issues among consumers, that's something that really is, I think, a future direction for agriculture and for food.